and they want the ball to start. Mike Hughes is back deep, a dangerous return threat, standing at his own goal line. So a little humid today here in Orlando. A little bit of pregame rain, so we'll see how the field holds up. And the ball slips away from Hughes as he gets started on the return. Out past the 15-yard line and through a gang of tacklers past the 20. He gets forward progress to the 22-yard line, which is where the Knights take over and get their drive started. Almost 49 points a game. #1 in the country for this team, led by the sophomore quarterback Mackenzie Milton.
And this is a team that starts very fast. They score on their first offensive possession 6 out of the last 8 games. So I look for them to get the easy throws out on the perimeter, run the football a little bit with Killens, but explosive plays on this first drive.
Killens gets the carry. He's a speedster, and whenever he's got room to run, it's pretty dangerous. A very short pickup there on first down for the sophomore out of Daytona Beach, Florida. So total offense, they're 5th in the country, 540 yards a game, and top 11 in those 4 categories. To the air on second down for Milton. He finds Gabriel Davis, the freshman from nearby Sanford, Florida, for a pickup of 7 yards.
What a nice throw. The first throw of the game, just over the outstretched arm of Tyler Coyle, the nickelback. That ball was placed perfectly in front of the UCF sideline.
It'll be a unique test today for this UConn defense that allows more passing yards per game than any team in the country. UCF goes to the ground here on third down, and the UConn defense comes up with a stop against Adrian Killens. Chris Britton, the linebacker, getting a hat in there, and UCF punting on its opening drive.
What a great 3 and out defensively by UConn. Britton, 33, is just going to slip inside of the pulling guard Dickey. That's just a good read and recognition, taking a straight line to Adrian Killens and knocking him down for a loss on third down.
That was such a big problem last week against USF, and even 2 weeks ago against Missouri. We've got motion along the line here, so a penalty coming, but missed tackles in excess of 25 the last 2 weeks for UConn, and a good wrap up there.
Defense number 29. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So just when they think they got the job done, it's a penalty against Connecticut. And a penalty-induced first down moves the chains. UCF's offense stays on the field.
And this is deflating. This is almost like a sudden change opportunity. It has to be deflating for Randy Edsall, the head coach for Connecticut, but it could be a big play opportunity for UCF and their offense here.
To the outside, the leading receiver, Traquan Smith, with the grab past the 35.
The big challenge for UConn today will be trying to harness the talent and the tempo offensively for UCF. They're going to get up to the line of scrimmage and try to run plays in succession. You have to be able to try to get off the field and tackle well in space.
After sending Killens out of the backfield, the throw intended for Smith right at the sticks falls incomplete as he got sandwiched. Junior Joseph, number 11 in blue, in there on the play.
And Joseph, from that linebacker position, one of the standouts for UConn defensively. He'll make a good read on this throw, break on the football, helmet on the football, and he had help from the other side by Britton again. So another third down opportunity for this defense.
At first it was 3rd and short. UConn got the stop. Now on 3rd down and 7. A perfectly thrown ball to the sideline is a first down for Smith, who pocketed himself inside the coverage to get 20 yards.
Plenty of time in the pocket for Mackenzie Milton to scan the secondary. Remember, UConn is dead last in pass defense in the country, so look for Milton and company and Smith on the outside to attack through the air.
Second catch for Davis, the freshman. And John, as you've watched the tape on this UCF team, it's not necessarily long plays, 20, 30 yards through the air, but shorter ones that become explosive plays.
Run after catch opportunities. That's what the athletes do here at UCF on the outside.
Virtually no pass rush as that ball to the sideline is incomplete, and there's a flag down as well. The receiver was out of bounds on the play, bobbled it as he fell out, but we've also got a flag at the 20.
Yeah, it looked like he was out of bounds, came back in, and can't be the first one to touch it offensively. This play should come back.
Our referee today, Charles LaMartina.
Illegal touching. Offense number 5. We're now bound on zone. Is the first player to touch the pass. Penalty is lofted down at the spot of the foul. At the previous spot, it is third down.
So exactly as you described it, John, out of bounds, back in bounds. Snelson not eligible to be able to be the first player offensively to touch it.
And Mike, early, the problem for Connecticut will be trying to get and cause Mackenzie Milton to rush his throws. He's had perfect protection early in this game.
The Huskies send 3. Milton takes off and stretches the football at the chain and gets the first down for the Knights.
At the top of the telecast, we talked about the dual threat ability of Milton. He can stand in the pocket and beat you, or he can recognize when coverage dictates to tuck the football and run and get the first down. He's that athletic from the pocket.
A very capable runner. That puts him over 300 rushing yards for the season. Now on the rollout, he floats it over the middle, and a leaping grab is made. Gabriel Davis, his 3rd catch of the first quarter, takes it inside the 5-yard line.
Beautiful touch pass for 29 yards. Milton is on a roll, and this offense is taking advantage of the special teams blunder by Connecticut.
Cordarian Richardson in at running back and into the end zone untouched. A penalty-aided drive for UCF gets them to score. Or Otis Anderson for the touchdown rather than Richardson. Beg your pardon.
Anderson goes in untouched. And Mike, just taking advantage of the special teams mistake. UConn went 3 and out, but offsides on the special teams, and then a couple of plays later, the Knights find the end zone.
Matthew Wright's extra point is good, and the highest scoring offense in the nation is on the board. Less than 4 minutes gone here in the first quarter. UCF at 8-0, aiming to stay perfect and off to a good start. It's the American Conference on ESPN, and the best team in the American Conference, the best of the group of 5 squads as well. The UCF Knights, a perfect 8-0 with the advantage here early on in the first quarter. A 7-0 advantage. Well, Scott Frost is happy. Randy Edsall, meanwhile, not very happy with his team.
No, and you make a mistake on that first drive, you're out of trouble early with a 3 and out. You make a blunder on special teams, and it leads to 7 points.
Quavon Scanes on the return. Stumbles forward at the 25-yard line where UConn takes over. So a different quarterback than we'd expect from previous weeks for UConn
Offside.
when they've been led by Bryant
Team number
Sheriff.
6. 5-yard penalty will be added to the dead ball spot. First down, UConn.
And he's out today with a concussion. Did not make the trip here with Connecticut, so he hands the reins over to David Pindell.
And Pindell hasn't made a start since the very first game of the season, so it'll be interesting to see Pindell come in, try to get comfortable early, and down 7 now, has to put a drive together for his head coach and Randy Edsall.
Pindell rolling on his first play, now just scrambling, trying to find anywhere to throw the ball as he goes down and wails it out of bounds at the 40-yard line. So Pindell, a guy, a transfer from junior college, Lackawanna Community College. His first start was week 1 against Holy Cross. Saw a little bit of action over the last 2 weeks in mop-up duty, and then playing last week after Sheriffs was concussed. Here's a guy who didn't play organized football until he was in 9th grade. Didn't have the grades to qualify academically coming out of high school in Maryland, with an offer from Buffalo, and now finds himself as the starter for Connecticut. Tyreek Beals with the ball for UConn goes for 9.
It's like a player may be down for UCF behind the play.
And Shaquan Burkett one of the inside linebackers for the Knights. Taking a look at his left leg.
And these linebackers have done an excellent job behind that big and massive defensive front for the Knights. They've been able to roam freely because of the big guys up front keeping the linebackers clean, and you hope Burkett is able to come off on his own power and get back into the game.
Second leading tackler on this team, along with his inside linebacking mate, Pat Jasinski, who's the team's leading tackler. Tells you how important they are to what UCF has done defensively this year. A push for it at the sticks.
It looked like he got just enough for the first down. Looked like that was Donovan Williams maybe in the game. Direct snap to him, and that offensive line just gets enough push to get that initial first down for Connecticut.
Williams, the former quarterback turned wide receiver for UConn. So first down and 10 now with the ball at the 40. Davis, the tight end, motions to the top of the screen. Nice pocket for Pindell, who finds Davis at the 47-yard line, a gain of 7 on the pass.
Good pass, good protection, most importantly, early in the game for Pindell. On that very first play, he was running for his life, and now he was able to settle into the pocket, get rid of the football on time.
He hands it off for Mensah, who turns the corner up to the left side and is into UCF territory. Gain of 8 for the freshman running back.
It's a nice answer drive so far by Connecticut offensively. They were able to get that first down, push the pile a little bit, throw the football out on the perimeter, get Pindell into the game early.
Pindell came into play today having thrown just 44 passes over the action he's seen this year. Now flushed again. He's got a couple 300-pounders chasing him, and he gets hit hard as he's taken down. A bit of a slide at the 30-yard line, an unintentional slide. It's a little slippery out there.
Well, he was hit by Shaquem Griffin. Griffin was coming from that outside linebacker position. Mayala trying to block for him on the perimeter, and Pindell goes for 17 yards, so another big play. But as the backup quarterback, and you don't have a whole lot of experience behind you, you want to get down on those big explosive plays at the end.
They send him on the run on play action. He heaves toward the end zone, and the pass is incomplete. There are multiple flags on the pass intended for Skeins, covered by Trey Neal for UCF.
It looked like Trey Neal had a handful of jersey.
15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And I like the aggressiveness of Pindell coming out, and UConn coming out, quite frankly, and attacking this UCF defense. Buying some time in the pocket, he escapes to his right side, gets the football close enough so that Trey Neal has to go up and make a penalty, actually tugging the jersey of Skeins in the end zone.
Starts to rain again, as it has on and off throughout the early morning and now here into the afternoon in Orlando. Newsom, the senior, takes it to the left side inside the 10-yard line. And like you said, John, an aggressive drive here for Connecticut. Really, I think, indicative of what Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator, has brought to this team, a renewed sense of urgency on offense this year.
And head coach Randy Edsall, we talked to him this week. He said, these are the games you live to play in. These are the games you have nothing to lose. Let's go out and attack early in this game.
Quarterback keeper and a stretch to the 1-yard line for Pindell. First down and goal coming up for Connecticut.
And I would expect another quarterback run here on first and goal. Get yourself lined up, attack, try to get some push to line of scrimmage, and let your quarterback, who's very agile and looks like very powerful early in this game, get into the end zone.
They load up here. Tommy Myers, the fullback in the I formation, with Nate Hopkins at running back. He churns his legs toward the goal line, and it's a touchdown.
Mike, one official is signaling touchdown, and the linesman coming in from the near side saying the knees were down before the ball crossed the plane. So let's see after the discussion where they place this football. It looked like the knees were down before the extension to break the plane with the ball. Take another look here.
Is that the runner's knee was down prior to the ball coming loose,
like
or going across the
ball
line.
might have been at the
Play
waist
is under review.
when the knee touched for Hopkins. And then once he was on the ground, he was able to extend the football. So Rhett Lashley and Randy Etzel on that sideline might have to contemplate a second and goal call as the officials take another look. But it looked like to me at first, when the knee touches, the ball's around the waist, not breaking the plane of the goal line. And then once Hopkins is on the ground, he breaks the plane with the football.
And I think keeping an eye on the elbow, too, is going to be indicative of where this ball gets spotted. Not a review that should take all too long. It was interesting as well that the official who signaled that the runner was down came from the near side where he could see the ball. The official who signaled touchdown was on the other side of the play, only saw the runner's back.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner is short of the goal line. It is second down.
It's tough to get a push when you're not used to getting under center as the quarterback. My thought would be to put the quarterback in shotgun, get an extra blocker in the backfield, and let him follow the running back.
Pindell keeps it. There's a flag down before the play.
Prior to the snap, full start. Offense number 80. 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's the tight end Myers.
So two big mistakes so far in this game for Connecticut on special teams to give life for UCF's offense to lead them down the field for a touchdown, and now you have it first and goal at the 1, trying to answer a score with a score, and now you make it tougher from just outside the 5-yard line.
Beals and McLean are the wide receivers here for UConn. On the toss, toward the edge, down to the 2-yard line.
Wow, great pursuit by the Knights defensively. That linebacking core and the safeties come up in a hurry for head coach Scott Frost. Able to stop Mensah short of the 1-yard line. Third and goal at the 2. Boy, I sure would like to get my quarterback, spread out the offense and let him maybe break the perimeter to the wide side of the field.
Pindell does exactly that. He runs, but he's corralled well short of the goal line. Stopped at the 2 again. UConn is a massive underdog in this game, coming in here against undefeated UCF.
Trey Neal comes from the secondary, that safety position, and he met Pindell behind the line of scrimmage, and that's going to bring out the field goal unit.
Just as a hypothetical here, considering what you're up against, the highest scoring offense in the country,
go for it. That's right.
You take the chance here,
especially with the attitude is we have nothing to lose. Let's go for it inside your own 5-yard line.
So the thought process seemingly rather get 3 than 0, and that's exactly what they do with a 20-yard field goal. So instead of the deficit being 7, UConn cuts to 4.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays, and in part by Dr. Scholl's.
Both teams on the board here in Orlando. UCF with a 7-3 lead against UConn. Real close there for the Huskies, trying to punch it in. Could not get the job done from the 1-yard line. So they settle for 3. And now a second drive coming up for the Knights, which allows us to take a look back with our Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry drive recap from drive number 1 for Scott Frost and company.
Well, it was a good mix of run and pass, and Mackenzie Milton at his best, but the penalty sets it up. UConn inexcusably, special teams let him down because it was a 3 and out. then the legs of Mackenzie Milton. He's able to extend for a first down. He's able to find a wide open Gabriel Davis down to get the Knights inside the 5, and then untouched goes in for the touchdown was Otis Anderson. So you have a mix of run, quarterback run, good running by Killens, and then a big play down the middle to set up 7 points.
Keeper for Milton on first down yardage and more as he goes toward midfield. A nice run of 24 yards for the 5'11 quarterback.
And that's just too easy. You get your quarterback off the edge after his zone fake, and he's able to get good blocking down the field. You see big bodies out in front of the 5'11 Milton, who scampers close to the 50-yard line.
He fakes the handoff and delivers a pickup of about 3 for Traquan Smith. Big play receiver who averages about 19 yards a catch coming into this game.
And this is a team that's used to getting big plays. They average 7 plays of 20 yards or more per game. Last week against SMU in a tightly contested game, 10 plays of over 20 yards. So this is a team that's used to getting chunk yardage plays down the field.
Couple of pulling blockers in front on the run on second down for Anderson, the freshman from Jacksonville. Anderson on the depth chart listed as a receiver, but he's now over 20 carries for the year, so they use him in a variety of ways.
And he started as a running back, moved to wide receiver, and he can do a little bit of everything for the Knights offensively.
UConn's got the defense bunched up tight in the middle, and so Milton pulls it and runs to the edge. He goes for his second first down on the ground on this drive.
11 yards off the right side. He takes it away from the running back and uses his speed to the wide side of the field. I'm looking for a matchup now where you fake that zone read and you try to go downfield to one of those wide receivers, as McKenzie has 41 on the ground already early in this game.
Here comes pressure, picked up, and then Milton hit as he was throwing, intended for it down the near sideline. So second down and 10 coming up. This is a guy who's already showed off his wheels pretty effectively. Not to mention, he is an excellent passer, completing 70% of his passes.
Awesome.
Second best in FBS, only behind Oklahoma's Baker Mayfield at 71%.
And protects the football in the passing game. 20 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions for the season.
Hand off to the speedster Killens. Slicing his way through a hole. First down and more. Off to the right side. A red zone run for the sophomore.
Adrian Killens has great patience and terrific vision. He's able to sit behind that big offensive line, extend, stretch the play out vertically, and then go down the sideline. Just a terrific job of patience and vision by Killens.
Snelson makes the catch on the perimeter, and once he's got the ball, look out as he turns it upfield. The operative word with UCF is fast, and that's exactly what they've been. Getting upfield, getting back to the line of scrimmage. And Killens goes through the middle and through the arms of Junior Joseph for the touchdown.
Mike, they made it look pretty easy there on that drive. 5-yard, good shifty run in between the tackles by Adrian Killens. Good running out of the quarterback and Milton, and a couple passes mixed in to push the lead to 10.
Wright has missed just one extra point all this year. And that one is good to make it 14-3. An explosive drive. They had 4 plays there that went for 10 yards or more. Effective on the ground. Up 14-3.
Big game buzz in South Florida. An old rivalry reawakens.
There's so much to play for. Feels like an elimination game.
You got a 13-game winning streak for Miami going into this one. Longest in the country. Their last loss, October 29th of last year. Even on a down year, a victory in that game for Notre Dame. Excitement on campus for the U. Skanes looking for some electricity, only finds the 14-yard line for UConn on the return. The Huskies facing one of 5 unbeaten teams in the country today, an 18th-ranked UCF, the only group of 5 team left of unbeaten teams. Number 1, Georgia, big one with Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State trying to get in their way. Miami, Notre Dame, that's tonight. And then Wisconsin, a team that when the conversation turns to the college football playoff, and UCF has quite often been the comparison. Loose ball. It looks like the officials are blowing that down as an incomplete pass.
Considering that a shovel to the outside. It looked like a lateral, but it was considered down as a pass. The officials called that. And it looked like it was clearly recovered by UCF.
So UCF takes a timeout here.
This looked like, to me, it would be like a toss sweep. I think if it's a throwing motion,
further review.
I think UCF has reason to take a look at this again, the officials, because the ball looked like it was tossed. It didn't look like it was a flip or a pass. It's underhanded. Now, where does the ball land? He's on the 10-yard line as Pindell tosses this football. Where does the ball land? Boy, it's really close. It's really close. It almost, to me, looks like a fumble with a recovery by UCF.
Yeah, Tony Garrod, the defensive end, number 93 in gray there, getting over and getting on top of that football.
I think that looks like a toss to me. The only indication is, where is that ball going? It looked like a fumble and a clear recovery by UCF, which would give them the football close to the 14-yard line.
That's the big downside for UConn, is that if it ends up being ruled as a fumble, there was not a recovery by the Huskies, but rather Garrod falling on top of it. For what you need there is the clear recovery in the immediate continuing action of the play.
Scott Frost kind of talking to the officials on the sideline, giving them his opinion of it, and it looked like to me just a toss play that starts on the 10 by the quarterback Pindell and may have been touched around the 9.5. Clearly recovered by Garrard at the end of it. It was called an incomplete pass on the field, but it looked like a fumble and a clear recovery by the Knights. Garrard on the football for UCF.
And how about this for use of technology? The referee, Charles LaMartina, looking up at the video board here at the stadium for his angle.
I could see if Pindell went and pitched the football and the ball lands forward, that could be an incomplete pass. But it looks like it was touched at or just behind the 10-yard line. And it was underhanded, just like a toss sweep would be. A shovel pass would be different if it was coming from the chest out, but underneath is a toss.
Well, let's discuss the potential implications here as well. If it ends up being Knights football, they've got the ball inside the red zone, a chance to punch it in again and extend their already formidable lead. If UConn keeps the football, it's a long field to go, but gives them a little bit more reason for optimism, down 14-3.
This is a big play for Connecticut. They want to retain possession and not tee up the Knights offense inside the 20-yard line. They've already made a couple of blunders in this game with penalties that have extended a drive to give the first points of the game to UCF.
After
and then
review,
moved backwards when they had a first
the
and
ruling
goal.
on the field has been changed. This is a backwards pass recovered by UCF at the 13-yard line. It would be their ball there at the first down. With the first down, please reset the game clock to 2:44. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, UCF head coach. 15-yard penalty, it'll be their ball first down. This is his first unsportsmanlike foul. UCF will be given their timeout back and retain their challenge.
Now, Mike, Scott Frost doesn't seem like a guy that's going to get awfully emotional on the sidelines. Maybe he was out on the field arguing his point and got flagged for that.
That could certainly be part of it, because that's part of an officiating initiative this year, is to keep coaches off the field. They're allowed to voice their opinion, but just not come out onto the field of play to do it. So Tony Garrod recovers the fumble.
I think it might have been well worth it, even if he was called for that.
He got the ball.
Got his point across, and now the explosive offense is going to have it with 2:44, up 14-3, with excellent field position inside the UConn 30-yard line.
And you're right, John. He is not an extremely high energy or volatile guy in terms of up or down emotionally speaking.
Now, I do think he can get emotional, but he's not going to show us. I think he's going to show his team.
Right.
And he's going to show his coaching staff. But that might have been it. But the end result is UCF's going to have the football at the 28-yard line and moving in for more points after there's only 2:44 left in the first quarter.
What do you need to see differently from UConn on defense?
I thought they've done a pretty good job so far. It's the explosive plays, and they have to be able to tackle in space.
I was going to say they're down 14-3, so.
Well, they are down 14-3, but due to special teams and their own mistakes offensively, first and goal at the 1. I think you have to limit the running ability of the quarterback, Milton. I think that's been the backbreaker for their defense.
120s is not where a defense wants to be in terms of FBS numbers. And a flag as Milton goes down with the slide.
Holding, offense number 72. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's the center, Jordan Johnson, the sophomore from Jacksonville, who started every game at center this year.
And that'll help a defense that's struggling. Anytime the offense is going backwards, it looks like a seal block, and that left arm and right arm gets locked in. Boy, it sure didn't look like that much of a hold to me, but it was called.
False start, offense number 72. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Mike, you asked me what would help UConn defensively. Those last two plays are helping.
Johnson flagged 2 straight plays on that hold as well. He was called on the hold against the nose tackle, Foley Fatukasi, for UConn. That's a difficult matchup there, and one of the best defenders the Huskies have. So backed up, Fatukasi creates pressure, and a nice wrap-up as Milton took off to run. Chris Britton, the linebacker, brings him down.
Those are the type of tackles Connecticut needs to make in the open field if they're going to slow down the running of Mackenzie Milton. The first defender has to bring down the quarterback before he gets to that next level and can use his feet and make people miss.
They've got to do it on Milton. They've got to do it on Killins.
That's right.
On everybody.
A lot of playmakers for UCF.
Inside 2 minutes in the opening quarter as UCF has been backed up 30 yards on penalties here. Traquan Smith parading his way through the defense inside the 30-yard line, gains back 15 of those yards.
Beautiful play on second down. Gets outside and terrific blocking down the field. This is where Connecticut must find a way to get off the field. They must find a way to create some kind of pressure in the pocket on Milton.
See what defensive coordinator Billy Crocker draws up. The throw to the sticks, and the grab made by the running back Taj McGowan, enough for a first down.
Talked about the recognition of Mackenzie Milton. He sees the short side blitz coming. He's able to get it out quickly to an outlet before a defender can close in and move the chains.
Nice play design to put some blockers in front for Marlon Williams, the freshman wide receiver. And you talk about the recognition from Milton, John. That's one of the things his coaches praise him on, is just his intellect, how quickly he sees things and how they develop. Similar look toward the goal line, and you've got a UCF touchdown. Marlon Williams with his first touchdown of the season. UCF running away in the opening quarter.
Well, UCF comes from first and forever, and they're able to get in the end zone and find points again before the first quarter clock strikes 15. Just a simple screen to the outside. Marlon Williams on back-to-back plays gets into the end zone and pushes the lead to 20-3.
One of the things that has impressed Scott Frost the most with his sophomore quarterback is how quickly he's picked everything up, from the offense to reading plays, and he helped them come back from 30 penalty yards on that drive near midfield to punch it into the end zone, up 21-3. The highest scoring offense in the nation is been exactly that so far, up 21-3. 18th ranked UCF leading UConn, with the Knights in pursuit of extending their perfect season to date to 9-0. Two guys who know each other pretty well, Randy Edsall, Scott Frost, head coaches at their respective universities. Here comes the kickoff from right, and it's Gaines from inside the 5-yard line. He stopped at the 20. There is a flag, though, coming from near midfield.
During the return, illegal block at the back. Receiving team number 84. 10-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. First down.
So the familiarity between Randy Edsall and Scott Frost goes back a few years. They've got the same agent, and they're pretty friendly. Guys, before the game, right? Scott Frost's wife had a baby this week, so what do you get for that? A UConn onesie.
All you can do is smile if you're Scott Frost, right? Your friends, you got to take the gift. Maybe has the wrong logo on it, but you have to take the gift. That's great stuff.
UConn going back to work. Pindell, the backup quarterback, getting the start today, with Bryant Sheriffs out with a concussion he suffered last week in their loss against USF on their senior day. So perhaps only 2 games remaining in his collegiate career. Pindell will try and lead the Huskies to victory here today in Florida. 1 quarter down. UCF fast and furious out to the big lead. You can watch college football all day long. As a matter of fact, if you do, it's good for you. Lots of games on right now. You can find them on the ESPN app. Arkansas, LSU on ESPN. Iowa State over Oklahoma State early on ABC. And NC State, Boston College early second quarter. No score there. Meanwhile, back here in Orlando, Mike Cousins, John Congemi. After 1 quarter, 21-3, UCF over UConn. Big defensive play there from UCF.
Looked like Clark coming from the corner. Just a blitz. He follows the football and drills Newsome in the backfield for a loss. Now 3rd and medium for the Huskies.
Pocket held up for a while for Pindell, and he's brought down from behind. He's got wheels, but not enough to escape on that play. And UConn's going to have to punt.
The big guys up front get pressure, and the linebacking core makes plays. That's exactly what happens here on 3rd down. Burgess Becker's going to line up outside at the defensive end spot. A little twist to the inside, fights off 2 blockers, and then finds quarterback David Pindell for the sack on 3rd down.
Graham from the end zone has the ball take a Husky bounce to the 45-yard line. So far, so good for the Knights, up 21-3. All three drives have culminated in touchdowns.
Big plays, short drives on the last opportunity. Only 5 plays, 28 yards for a touchdown, overcoming some penalty misfortune, and quarterback Mackenzie Milton completely in charge of this offense.
So up by 18, kind of indicative of the way that they've played games this year. Their closest game was 10 points. 31-21 win over Navy. Smith turns his wheels upfield for a gain of 8 on first down.
And I like what offensive coordinator Troy Walters told us yesterday. He tries to get Mackenzie Milton in rhythm early with a lot of easy throws, a lot of screens, a lot of zone reads, get his legs involved, and then evolve from there. And that's what's happened today.
Just a straight handoff through the middle. Now, what does that do for a quarterback to get short throws? Does it build confidence at the beginning of the game?
Well, I think that's just who they are, but it does give you a little bit of confidence. And I think the confidence comes from what Troy talked about during the week on a Thursday kind of walkthrough when he sees Milton drilling those seam routes down the middle, and he's throwing the curls, and he's throwing the comebacks, and he's on time, and he's on target. It just builds some confidence where they get 15 to 20 plays that they have a lot of faith in, and they use those early in the game.
Killens out of the backfield. He dropped it. Incomplete pass. Third down, very short here. Wouldn't be surprised to see the offense stay on the field.
No, I think they will. But that's an example of a toss sweep in the passing game. You know, you catch that football, you fall down, you've got a first down.
So they got fourth and about half a yard.
I would think you get the right look. This might be quarterback zone read run.
They load up real big, but UConn gets a strong defensive line push. And it's a turnover on downs for UCF. They get stopped by UConn. The Huskies get the ball back.
Mike, you're totally called that perfectly. There was penetration in the middle of the field. It looked like Fatukasi was involved. It looked like Joseph was behind the line of scrimmage. Just no running room in the middle, and that's a one-man show up front. Nose tackle, Foley Fatukasi bringing down the rushing attack. So that's a terrific job. Now, can you capitalize on sudden change? Can UConn's offense turn that big stop into points?
Best starting field position of the day for UConn. The throw sinking as it hits the turf, intended for McLean.
And that's one of those plays you have to make. You're wide open, coming across the middle. You've got to be able to stand tall in the pocket and hit McLean on that deep crossing route.
Pindell at quarterback today, a guy who last year at Lackawanna College in Pennsylvania completed 64% of his throws. But he's a very capable runner. He takes off here, slides, gets hit late, and does have the first down.
Good decision to get down at the end of this run. There's not a whole lot of depth at quarterback and a whole lot of experience behind David Pindell, so he uses that quarterback draw, makes one man miss at the point of attack in Jasinski, and then gets on the ground.
He's got plenty of options and checks down for Skanes, who scampers along the sideline. And the quarterback run game has very much been a part of the UConn offense this year, with Sheriffs handling the duty up until this week.
They have athletic quarterbacks, and they can do that very well. It's built into their running game, and it helps out their offensive line. And I think they've gone up-tempo a little bit more this season as well. That's helped them out.
A couple tackles spun out of Kevin Mensah, the freshman from Worcester, Mass. Spins all the way down for 13 yards to the 20-yard line.
So far, this is a great answer from UConn. After the defense comes up big on fourth down, they've put together a couple of runs, one by Pindell, and now Mensah breaking numerous arm tackles to get the ball close to the 20-yard line.
Mensah tucks it and takes off. Sustains a blow. The ball came loose down to the 13-yard line.
Well, that's a huge hit by Kyle Gibson, the safety. He comes out of center field and lays the wood to Mensah. It's just a good job of squaring up and putting a helmet and shoulder on the football. Great job by Gibson. Those safeties make plays, Neal and Gibson, for the UCF defensive secondary.
Keeper Pindell again, and can't escape the ankle tackle, testing the perimeter, brought down by Brandon Moore.
Too much speed, Mike, on defense for UCF. They get the first down, but that could have been a much bigger play. Brandon Moore saving a touchdown with that ankle tackle around the quarterback, Pindell. Can UConn finish? That's the big question now.
Beals was getting ready to turn it upfield after taking the toss from Pindell, and we got a whistle and a flag.
The first down marker is under further review.
So, opportunity to go back and look at the run by Pindell to see where his stretch of the football ended up.
It was a good open field tackle by Brandon Moore. He actually saved a touchdown because he was the last line of defense on the outside as David Pindell was going to the short side of the field. It looks like Pindell needs to get to the 11-yard line for the first down. Second and short. Pindell's going to come near side towards us. And a great tackle on the outside by Moore, but where does that knee first touch?
Right, and when his knee is down, it looks
Where's
like
the football?
The ball's not extended.
No.
After
knee
review,
down right there.
The runner's right
ball
knee was
behind
down.
the
Prior
11.
to the ball reaching the line to gain. It will be third down and 1 at the 12-yard line. Clock will start on my whistle.
So that's a good call, and I appreciate that review by the officials to go back and get that play right.
And I'm sure that Coach Scott Frost appreciates that call as well, Mike. So now you get your defense another crack on third and short.
A keeper, a toss, and to the end zone. Touchdown, UConn. Mason Donaldson gets the touchdown. Nicely drawn up to execute and get 6.
And what a beautiful read in that run-pass option by David Pindell. Terrific job of giving the illusion on the zone read and then a quarterback run. And at the end, it's that run-pass option, that RPO to the short side of the field that draws the attention of everyone in the secondary of UCF, and a wide open Mason Donaldson in for the touchdown. You smile when they're that easy.
Especially for a guy making just his second start of the year to be able to get comfortable on the offensive drive and finish it there after being sent back after the extra spot of the ball.
The illusion of, I can't believe I'm this open on this run pass option. UConn finishes and closes the gap.
We give you a look at some of the brave men and women from around the world sporting their school colors. This is the week we honor all of America's heroes who have served and are currently serving in our nation's armed forces. And we are fortunate to have a veteran in the booth with us every week, our statistician, Joe Sullivan, the United States veteran. Thank him for his service not only to the country, but also to the broadcast every week, providing invaluable nuggets of information. Well, the wind has picked up a little bit here in Orlando. Mike Cousins, John Congemi, along with our crew here in Orlando today. Glad to have you with us. And we are seeing the sun probably more predominantly than we have so far. It was gray and rainy this morning.
And the wind has picked up as well, Mike, and it looks like it's going to be at the backs of UCF and their offense.
They've got the 11-point advantage. That was trimmed after a touchdown drive by UConn. with their first-year offensive coordinator, Rhett Lashley, who has helped their offense surge this year. 55th in the country in terms of total yards a game. And when we talked to him this week, he said, look, having a guy who does not have a ton of experience as a starting quarterback, been there, done that at Auburn with Jeremy Johnson and Nick Marshall in 2013, and Sean White replacing their incumbent in 2015 against Mississippi State, never having had a snap in that game.
And that play very reminiscent of what he did at Auburn.
Gabe Davis, early frequent target of Mackenzie Milton.
This is where, if you're UConn defensively, you've got to slow down UCF in their offense.
And just how about those plays to the outside for Snelson there with a couple blockers in front? Those have been extremely effective.
Well, they're spreading out the UConn defense. Remember, they're trying to throw so they can run the football. So you spread out the defense to allow some gaping holes later in the game and maybe in this quarter for Adrian Killens.
Off to the right side, first tackler, Chris Britton, brings down Otis Anderson. And that's exactly what you mentioned earlier. The first man to the scene has got to be the one to end the play.
You have to be able to tackle in space and bring down these playmakers on the perimeter, because that's where you're going to find the football. Mackenzie Milton does a great job of distributing the football outside the numbers.
UConn brings just 3. It's a slip tackle, and it takes 2 UConn defenders to make the stop on the throw to Davis. Flag at the end of the play.
And there's a perfect example of the first defender missing, and then there might be penalty yardage on top of it.
The face mask, defense number 25. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
The redshirt freshman cornerback Tyler Coyle called for the penalty. Marches UCF down to the 31. It's actually on Marche Terry on the corrected call there from our referee, Charles Lambertina.
So Summer misses on the outside. Terry gets the penalty, and right now UCF poised to go in for more points.
Milton pressured, Joseph in his face, and he lofts it out of bounds.
Good pressure in the pocket by linebacker Junior Joseph. He's their best defender on that side of the football. And for head coach Scott Frost, he's just happy that Milton was able to elude pressure, get rid of the football, come back for 2nd and 10. Didn't make a bad play worse.
He's only turned it over through the air 5 times this year compared to his 20 touchdown passes coming into the game.
If I'm Milton and I'm looking to go through the air, it might be to the short side of the field to Smith.
Milton's on the move, and he goes headlong. You got a flag on the backside of the play down to the 32.
Holding, offense number 72. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Well, John, it has not been Jordan Johnson's best first half of his season. That's his 3rd penalty on the center.
No, and they've been able to overcome penalties. On that last drive, they had 2 penalties by Johnson. They overcame that. It might be a good sign for UCF, because the more adversity they've faced offensively, the more plays they've executed down the field.
And now they face 2nd down and 20. Here comes a UConn blitz, a pass over the middle to a wide-open Smith, who takes off looking for a blocker outside, and he's in for the touchdown. They back him up, no problem. 41-yard touchdown, Milton to Smith.
Mike, the more adversity this offense faces, the better they've executed. Great pass protection, a wide open Smith down the middle. He adjusts well to the football thrown behind him, and then just jogs into the end zone. This is just a deep in cut, and no one close in a blue jersey. That has to be a busted coverage in zone, because Smith ran all by himself down the middle of the field.
28-10. UCF with the lead. Penalty yardage, don't worry about it.
No big deal.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Prilosec OTC Frequent Heartburn Medicine. And Sam Adams, fill your glass.
The College Football Playoff Committee no doubt has its eyes on UCF. Undefeated and the highest ranked group of 5 team in the most recent college football playoff rankings. Trying to get to 9-0 to start the year. A 41-yard touchdown pass extends their advantage, 28-10. That was their 100th drive of the year, John. And keep an eye at the top line here with what you're going to see is touchdowns and punts is the important number here. They have more than twice as many touchdowns, 51, as they do punts this year. So 59 scores, 41 non-scores in 100 drives this year.
And today, 5 drives, 4 touchdowns, and 1 turnover on downs. And this is an explosive offense led by a quality quarterback that has talent all around him.
Mensah brought down by Jamias Pittman. There is a flag, though.
Personal foul. They're asking the face mask. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Pittman, the defensive end. He's a big guy out of Moultrie, Georgia. 6'1", 311. These are guys who will move you with ease.
They are big men, and these guys, I'd never walk up to Tristan Hill and say, hey, nice haircut, right? This guy can get penetration. Gerard does that on the outside. Pittman does that on the outside. They find ways to make your life miserable, and the beneficiary of that are the linebackers and safeties making a lot of plays.
You're saying you wouldn't ask him if you get a bowl of soup with that hat?
No, I would not say that to him. I might think it, but I'd never say it.
Keon Dixon testing the perimeter there for UConn.
They're just athletic, and I think that's the biggest thing when we talked yesterday to the coaching staff. They were talking about the defense and how they move so well and how they pursue down the line of scrimmage. They do a great job of finding the ball carrier, finding the football, and rallying not just one guy, but 2, 3, 4 players around the ball carrier.
Garrett had that fumble recover earlier in the game. Here comes a corner blitz. Pindell spins away from it and heaves down the sideline. Incomplete, but a great second effort by Pindell to avoid the sack after the blitz blocked by Neville Clark.
And that's the second time we've seen the athleticism of David Pindell at quarterback. He turned a sack for a normal quarterback into a third and manageable situation just by using his ability to elude the first defender in the pocket. Another blitz from the short side of the field. That's where the pressure's been coming from the Knights defensively.
They blitz again. Pindell stands tall and gets it away for Scaines, his top receiver. First down, UConn.
That's great anticipation by David Pindell. He knew he was going to take the shot in the pocket. He had to anticipate where his receiver was going to be, Scaines, in the zone, and 15 yards later, he's able to deliver a strike. David Pindell's growing up in this football game. He's learning how to throw the football away and learning how to anticipate down the field, and we know he can run the football.
And he gets hit in the torso. Titus Davis, one of the linebackers, delivering a blow as he smartly slides. He's being asked to execute a lot here in just his second start with UConn.
On the road against a ranked team, coming into an environment where you have to be able to deliver and you have to be able to think quickly from the pocket, and he's done that today.
Run through the middle for Newsome. The senior was out last week with a shoulder injury. They were down him and the very talented redshirt freshman Nate Hopkins, both with shoulder maladies last week.
Newsome, impressive numbers for his career as a Husky as he'll go off the field on this third and short opportunity.
Especially impressive considering he's been in stores not during the best of times for the football program. That defensive line making its presence felt again as we go inside 5 minutes before halftime.
Good penetration by A.J. Wooten, and then the cleanup job was by Jasinski. But Connecticut's able to move the chains and have an opportunity to get points before halftime.
With a couple blockers in front and a collision on the run as well. Cam DeGeorge, the right guard, got tied up there, and that limited that run.
And Mike, I know the game's at 28-10, but this is how UConn would like to play offense. Move the chains, stay on the field, finish, get points, and keep that explosive UCF Knights offense on the sidelines. That's exactly what head coach Randy Edsall would like to see. If they can finish on this drive, maybe get a couple more first downs and take it down inside of 2 minutes.
Optimally get a score here and then get the ball back
right,
to start the third quarter. Pindell quickly gets rid of it, and the ball is popped loose. No catch. Incomplete pass. Trey Neal delivering the percussive shot on the pass.
And I think that's where the strength of this UCF defense is. Up the middle. Nose tackle, linebackers, safeties. They all run. They all hit. That time, Trey Neal, helmet on the football, and it's 3rd and long for the Huskies.
3rd down, 7 to go. UCF has been blitz heavy on this drive. And Newsome takes the handoff between the hash marks. Still about 5 yards short of the sticks.
And maybe that call was because they're going to stay on the field offensively for 4th down. Just try to make it more manageable on 4th and 5. You know you're calling for 2 plays. Now you can still have a quarterback run or a quarterback scramble in play for offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley.
Pindell against a 4-man rush. He throws, the ball's tipped, nearly intercepted, and then nearly caught by Arkell Newsome, but it falls to the ground, and a turnover on downs by the Huskies. 3:14 to go. UCF on offense. They can do a lot with way less time than 3:14. Still plenty of action left. UCF takes over up 28-10, but a very supportive offensive coordinator, Rhett Lashley, after that turnover on downs, an incomplete pass from his quarterback, David Pindell.
Well, Pindell's doing a lot of good things in this offense. He's keeping plays alive. He's not making bad plays worse, and I think you have to show that confidence that going into the second half, we believe in what you're doing, because he may have to play not only today, but in a couple, the next couple of games.
When we spoke with Randy Edsall earlier this week, they've got 2 games left on the regular season schedule, and with Sheriffs out because of concussion issues, that's not always just a 1-week turnaround.
Right. Exactly right.
And so the question was, would he come back next week or say, perhaps, you know what, I've got a lot of things that I want to do off the football field. That was the second concussion of his career. 2 years to the day prior to the one last week, had another concussion that took him out of action, to say, you know what, I don't want to risk too much here. Do I end my football career?
Not all concussions are the same, and you have to realize that, and I'm sure the medical staff does for Connecticut.
3rd down and 8. UConn sends a ton of pressure and forces an incomplete pass.
That's a good defensive stand by the Huskies. They get pressure on 3rd down, good coverage, and I'm not so sure UCF knows what punt formation looks like.
Believe it or not, they do have a punt team.
That's right. Now, if you're Connecticut, you do not want to make a mistake like they did early in this game. Stay onside, field the punt cleanly. You still have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go before halftime.
Mac Loudermilk, 6'1", 234, former high school quarterback in Valdosta, Georgia, just gets it away, but it's a very high and very short kick. Does take a UCF bounce down to the 43-yard line. It's going to be great starting field position for UConn. So a chance at redemption after a turnover on downs last time out. Big one for Alabama tonight, 7 Eastern on ESPN against Mississippi State. A chance to clinch the West with a win, and an Auburn loss against Georgia at Jordan-Hare. A couple of great quarterbacks in this one, Fitzgerald especially on the ground. So UConn going back to work here, and it's Pindell who gets pounded into the turf back inside the 40-yard line. Tristan Hill, the big nose tackle. Eric Shenander, his defensive coordinator, says the nose tackle in his defense has to be the heavyweight champion of the world. And at least on the scales, he is at 330.
And the linebackers and safeties love him because he can create havoc. So UCF takes a timeout here after a big loss on first down. Still a lot of time left before halftime at 1:51.
And John, the weather has been something to watch here so far. With the direction UConn's driving right now, it looks like they're going into the wind.
Yeah, it seems like it's swirling, but definitely coming from the UConn sideline towards the UCF sideline. And it's picked up significantly from the beginning of the game.
Pindell stands tall, throws tall, catch is made by McLean. And a first down inside UCF territory.
Gain of 17 there, so UConn now in UCF territory as this wind continues to move around. But a good job by Pindell throwing that one right on the mark.
All sorts of time. That ball is incomplete. Down to the 32-yard line, trying to sneak it into the middle of 4 defenders.
And Mike, remember when Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator for Connecticut, talked about his quarterback Pindell as we take a look at that first half scoring by the opponents, really, and UConn not being able to generate enough explosive plays as he flicks the football down the field. That one was one of those times where he needed to step in and get those legs underneath him.
Well, he gets into this one, targeting single coverage down the field, and the pass is intercepted. A UCF takeaway. Mike Hughes with his 3rd interception of the year.
Well, Mike turns into the wide receiver on that play, makes an excellent play on the football. Watch him turn his head and track the football. He turns into the wide receiver, extending for his 3rd interception of the year. Pindell trying to make a play down the field, and he was hoping that Mayala, his wideout, would turn into the defensive back, but the ball was just slightly overthrown. And Hughes makes a terrific play to get possession back to UCF. It's funny, Mike, you would think with this big lead at 20 to 28 to 10.
Previous play of an interception is under further review.
So I imagine, John, what they're going to look at here is whether Hughes, the former North Carolina Tar Heel, maintained firm control of the ball as he came to the ground, whether it would stay as an interception or just be an incomplete pass.
Through the catch and see if the ground maybe move the football. It can move slightly, but you have to have control going to the ground. Looks like he's cradling the football there, but does the tip of the football touch before Hughes is able to secure it? That's what the officials are looking at. It looked like he had 2 hands on it, but as he brings it into his body, it slips through his hands, and maybe that football touches the ground and then goes back into the chest of Mike Hughes.
They'd need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. And although it appears that the ball may touch the ground, I don't know that there's enough to say, no, he didn't maintain control to give him possession throughout the play.
Right. I don't know if we have
because his body
a definitive
obscures
look
it
at that. It looks like the ball may have touched the ground as we get a couple bust out some moves in the end zone.
You see that video series that was running around on Twitter with the Jets dancing to all different types of music?
Yes.
I hope that turns into that. That's fantastic dancing.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, UCF.
I think it's a great call. You take a look at it upstairs. You have some indecision, but I don't think that Mike Hughes lost control of the football.
John, let's flash back to last week against SMU. UCF, before halftime, gets the ball back at its own 30 with only 12 seconds and 2 timeouts. They ended up kicking a 54-yard field goal. They didn't make it, but that tells you a lot as far as what they're able to do with a short amount of time. Flag down. It's initially in the end zone and then picked up and dropped out of the end zone on first down.
Holding offense number 72. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Saw the official pick up that flag to indicate that the holding not in the end zone, which would have been a safety.
Little dancing during the review for Jordan Johnson.
You are cruel.
And then another penalty.
Davis the catch and a short gain. Now a minute here, and UConn has 3 timeouts.
You would sure think that UConn would take a timeout after second down.
Try and get the ball back, perhaps get a short field, score, and then get the ball back to start the third quarter. Instead, Milton takes his time, watching the clock wind down.
All day.
Facing virtually no pressure, and then just throws it away. Now there is a very late flag. 2 flags, as a matter of fact, at the 10-yard line.
Could be a lineman downfield for UCF.
An eligible receiver downfield. Offense number 77. That penalty is declined. Third down.
So that's on Jake Brown.
And with Mackenzie Milton running around extending the play, Randy Edsel and staff doesn't need to use a timeout with 29 seconds because of the incompletion, but a lot of time off the clock between second and third down.
They lost almost 35 seconds by not calling a timeout. Now will they call one here?
I would think so. Why not? Force the punt.
So they do take the timeout here, stopping the clock at 17 seconds.
There was a lot of time there.
They could have had about 45 seconds if they had called timeout the play prior.
It takes the first charge timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock.
So the UConn timeout allows us to take a look at our championship drive update, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Get started at 3:30 here, Georgia and Auburn. And this is a big opportunity for Auburn not only to advance itself in the college football playoff rankings, but to play disruptor going against number 1 UGA.
Knowing they have Alabama later in the year. So you go down in Alabama, they look to keep rolling against Mississippi State and 2 active quarterbacks there. And then the big one at Hard Rock Stadium later tonight.
Georgia's already clinched the East. They're not worried about the division. They're worried about what the postseason will have in store for them. So just 17 seconds here. UConn down 28-10 against UCF. Again, bringing on the punt team.
And Mike, they had a lot of pressure on that last punt. So you look for UConn to maybe get close to Loudermilk here, as he had a very short punt the first time.
A much better kick than his first go around, and what a bounce. Scanes called for the fair catch from his own end zone, both through the air and on the roll. Gets it inside the 20-yard line.
69 yards later, and watch the reaction of Loudermilk. He knew he hit a home run there. Get out of the yard. You don't see that often from a punter. That's right. Get it all out.
2 home runs on 1 play.
He emptied the bag there, Mike.
You know, as a punter, how many times
do you get that
really get to
opportunity?
break out
That's right.
the celebrations?
You said 2 home runs, 1 plate appearance. That was pretty good.
Send him to Cooperstown.
That's right.
28-10 at the break. The Knights in pursuit of a 9-0 start, trying to climb their way up the college football playoff rankings. Their lead over UConn, the rivalry formerly known as the Civil Conflict. We're at the half. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Vizio. What a great day for college football here in Orlando. At halftime, as we get set for the start of the third quarter, UCF, the number 18 team in the country, with the lead over UConn, 28-10 is the advantage. Along with John Kajemi, Mike Cousins, so glad you could be with us. And John, as we look back at the first half, let's take a look at our all-state, all-hands-in, not play, but plays from the first half for the Knights.
Well, there was plenty of offense for UCF, and it started with Otis Anderson in his 3-yard run to take a 7-0 advantage. And then Milton, all he had to do was hand off to Adrian Killens, a 4-yard run up the middle to push the score to 14-3, and then make it 21-3 with a 6-yard pass play from Milton to Williams on the outside, and then just coasting down the middle. I guess you can do that in this offense. Smith takes this reception and pushes the score to 28-10. So you have a lot of offensive explosion. You have 4 touchdowns on the first 5 possessions for UCF, and for UConn, David Pindell did a very good job of trying to get this offense moving in the first half.
It's our game track brought to you by Taco Bell. It was Baby Watch last week in Dallas for head coach Scott Frost. Real happy after the game because he and his wife Ashley have been waiting and waiting. It didn't come just yet.
Boys, I got one thing to say, man. Thanks for making my son's birthday happy.
So at that point, after the win over SMU, the son had not been born yet. He was born in the middle of this week. Still yet to pick a name for him. We're going with BTBNL, like player to be named later, but baby to be named later.
Right.
So still working on it. We think Jack is out of the equation.
And the good thing is we have Central Florida. We have UCF next week, so we'll be able to update that story with a name, hopefully.
Updates will come accordingly in next week's game in Philadelphia against Temple. Flag on the return here as UConn gets the ball to start the second half. Last week's game, though, there was a private jet waiting if indeed the call did come that the baby was going to be born during the game, and Frost was prepared to leave and fly back to Orlando if need be. He's got good support around him, though. Both of his coordinators here, guys who have young children, they said, hey, man, your golf game's going to get taken.
It's going to suffer. That's right. The off-season golf game will definitely suffer. But I like just the fact that he's waggling the 8-iron as we were walking out of the meeting room. I told him in the off-season when he's down in South Florida, I've got to maybe take him out to play. I'm going to need a few shots from him, though. I heard he's pretty good.
You know a few people?
I know a few people. That's right.
UConn just 10 first-half points. We were a little curious as to the timeout usage or lack thereof by Connecticut at the end of the first half. Nevertheless, playing it safe with Pindell, just a second-time starter. He cuts his way upfield and is drilled into the turf at the 25-yard line. Pickup of 16 by Pindell, the junior from Columbia, Maryland.
Both quarterbacks have been impressive when they run the football and they get to the second level. And Pindell does an excellent job of eluding the first arm tackle at the line of scrimmage and then making one of these safeties miss in Trey Neal.
Hiding behind the line, he floats it over the top, and Newsome has the catch. He's off to the races, one defender to beat, and he's taken down at the 15-yard line. Nicely executed the explosive play for Connecticut, a 60-yard hookup.
Well, the big plays were coming on the offense from UCF. This time a great touch pass after the fake behind the backfield, just kind of hides behind the offensive lineman, does David Pindell, and a great touch pass over the head of Pat Jasinski and into the arms of Newsome for a huge play.
After Newsome makes the catch, he gets the handoff as well. Runs into Jasinski, the inside linebacker, among many others on the UCF defensive front seven.
Mike, it's the same story, though, for Connecticut offensively. In between the 20s, they've been very good. Can they finish? Can they find a way to get in the end zone for 6 points and make this a ball game?
Pindell under pressure, nearly threw it away. And there are 3 flags down after the pass hits the ground. Shaquan Burkett, the linebacker, in coverage.
Pass interference, defense number 2. Automatic, first down.
It appeared in real time that Burkett may have been there a count or 2 early. In the pocket, Pindell gets drilled, but there was contact on the UConn wide receiver coming down the middle. Beals coming on the under. There's the contact. The ball a good 5 yards away from the would-be wide receiver, and a good call by the officials on Burkett.
Pindell keeps it himself to the goal line and to the end zone. Touchdown, UConn. Exactly how they wanted to get the third quarter rolling.
Connecticut makes a statement coming out to start the third quarter. Take the ball on a couple of big plays right down the field against this UCF defense and put some points on the board. Great running by Pindell. He had a big one to start the series. A nice touch pass down the middle, and then finishes with a zone read run into the end zone.
John, tell me if you disagree, but from going to the regular starter Sheriffs here to Pindell, the backup today, there's not been a big drop-off in the offensive production by UConn.
Not at all. And that's a credit to the preparation of David Pindell and offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley. They prepared David Pindell to play in this football game. Remember, he started the opener in the season, and he's answering the bell on the road against a ranked team.
There's only one of me. They are not confused, but I wanna be.
Welcome back to the American Conference on ESPN. We've got ourselves a ball game early in the third quarter. UCF leads UConn 28-17 after a 91-yard touchdown drive authored by David Pindell. Getting just his second start with UConn and really getting an early audition for 2018 starting job.
4 plays, 91 yards, only 139 off the clock. The longest scoring drive of the season by Connecticut offensively.
Ball coming out to the 25 for UCF, so we can take a look back at the last drive as Pindell zipped his way down the field.
And Mike, it all starts with the running ability of David Pindell. He's able to make players miss at the line of scrimmage. There he makes Burkett, the linebacker, miss a big play, and then hides behind the big offensive line. Great touch pass over the middle for 60 to Newsome. And then it's his legs again inside the red zone. He's able to a little double fake on the zone read, and he's able to use that speed on the perimeter to find the end zone and close the gap to 20-17.
And there's a guy who did not play organized football until 9th grade. He just got put at quarterback because his coach said, hey, you can throw a little bit, you can run a little bit. We'll give you a shot there. Played his first 2 years at junior college and now in his first season at UConn. The speedster Killens starts the drive for UCF.
And a good open field tackle by Anthony Watkins, the safety, because if you give Adrian Killens maybe a yard, you're not going to catch him on the perimeter.
As SMU found out last week in painful fashion, giving up 2 huge touchdown runs to him. Gashing through the middle of the defense, Gabe Davis, who had a big first half, continues his excellent day, 20 yards to midfield.
And this is where the Knights offensively are dangerous.
Flag back at the 31, John.
There's no foul for ineligible downfield. No foul.
This is where they're dangerous, Mike, as I was saying, because 2 plays and are at midfield. You know, you get 2 explosive plays and you're already in scoring range.
It's just a very admirable form of aggressive football led by Scott Frost. Dredrick Snelson, the sophomore from Miami, who chose UCF over Penn State, Maryland, Minnesota, makes a statement about the type of offense that high school recruits see with Scott Frost.
And there's no wonder why there's not a lot of pressure in the pocket on Mackenzie Milton. He's catching and throwing like a shortstop back there.
Finally, he gets pressure and gets taken down from behind.
Cole Ormsby just speed rush up the field. That looked really good, and he's able to dip that shoulder and get underneath and just use his speed. That's the first time the quarterback Milton has ever even felt pressure up the field.
Sack number 7 on the year for Ormsby to lead the team. Can they get a stop here on 3rd down? A back foot throw will keep the drive alive. Milton with a team of playmakers, and the ball comes loose. UConn has it, and the Huskies take over at the 20-yard line. So down 11, UConn regains possession.
Trey Bell coming from behind and stripping the football. What looked like was going to be a touchdown one way turns in to a fortunate bounce and second and third effort by this UConn defense. There were some big plays on that drive by UCF, but a great second effort by Trey Bell to strip the football from behind and now to get their offense back on the field for an opportunity at more points.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Sam Adams. Fill your glass. And Old Spice.
Opportunity beckons for UConn. Here's a flea flicker chance. Pindell tests the middle of the field. Incomplete. Targeting Hergy Mayala. Admire the creative play calling of Rhett Lashley for sure.
Well, I like how aggressive Connecticut's been offensively. They go with the flea flicker, the handoff, and then back to David Pindell. He had a wide open receiver, bottom of the screen, but he needs to throw this one over the under coverage provided by Collier.
2nd down and 10, looking to set up the inside screen pass, and that gets destroyed quickly. Scanes makes the catch and has nobody to help him out.
2 defensive plays in a row as it looks like Tony Garrard might need some help getting off the field, but just great speed on the outside. He's going to line up at the defensive end position. He's going to recognize screen and then watch the lateral speed to get outside to the wide receiver. That's just good work and good awareness by Tony Garrard.
Just great strength for the redshirt senior. 6'4", 310 pounds out of Tampa. Recovered a fumble earlier in the game as well. On a play that was under review, he was there to fall right on top of it. And now it's 3rd down and 10 for UConn. It got possession after a fumble by UCF's Otis Anderson, who was going for 38 yards before he lost it. The Huskies trying to take advantage. Heavy blitz. Pass up top, tipped and incomplete, and nearly intercepted. A couple near misses for Pindell.
That's the answer a team that's undefeated at home late in the year comes back with. The defense goes 3 and out after an opportunity for their offense to get points in another pressure-packed pocket. to deal with for David Pindell.
Inside the 40-yard line, excellent special teams coverage to get downfield and wrap up. Mike Hughes has already taken one punt back for a touchdown this year. It's Fight Night in Fresno. Our next top-ranked boxing event comes to you tonight. Co-main events. Artur Beterbiev battles Enrico Kelling for Andre Ward's vacated IBF light heavyweight belt. And then Jose Carlos Ramirez in line for a WBO and WBC junior welterweight title bout. But he's got to go through Mike Reed first. Look out for UCF chasing that snap all the way back to the 22. So 10:30 Eastern tonight, 7:30 Pacific for boxing on ESPN and the ESPN app.
It looks like so far UConn has been able to take a couple punches and still hang around in this third quarter. That play for the Knights, minus 14 on the quarterback center exchange out of shotgun error.
Killins gets it. Great perimeter pursuit. Tyler Coyle, the cornerback, runs him down. That's a tricky guy to get one-on-one.
So 2 negative plays in a row. One self-inflicted. That time the UConn defense going sideline to sideline to present a 3rd and 26 for the Knights on offense.
Just 1 for 4 on 3rd and long plays today. Pressure from behind. And UConn's defense with another great play. Darian Beavers, the freshman they're very high on out of Cincinnati, runs down Milton at the boundary.
That's just good execution defensively, getting after the quarterback, Mackenzie Milton. And it's going to take a Mac Loudermilk punt to flip the field on the Huskies.
3 straight plays going backwards for UCF makes it 4th and 28. Loudermilk was a good choice here. He's gotten some very favorable bounces on his last couple kicks. 8:42 in the third, still an 11-point game. We want to introduce you to a senior from Orlando on the UCF roster, Rory Coleman, whose grandfather, William, was a paratrooper in World War II with the 101st Airborne. He felt compelled to serve. He enlisted in 2009. In 2011, was injured head to toe from a grenade and received a Purple Heart for his service, and went back after his injury and his rehabilitation to finish his active duty in 2013. His mom and dad graduated from UCF. He wanted to play football here, and he's still in the Army Reserve, serves in Jacksonville. So Rory Coleman, an Army combat medic, a Purple Heart recipient, and UCF Knight.
Yeah, just a great story and his commitment, and I know his teammates really respect the things that he's done off the football field.
John, most impactfully, I think when we look back 2 weeks, 2 years from now, we're probably not going to remember the score of this game, but I think the name Rory Coleman and what he's done will stay with me much longer than anything that happened in these 60 minutes today.
And I think his teammates probably feel the same way, friends and family, when they think of him and what he's done and gone through in life. And it's just remarkable that young men take on that responsibility.
We got featured on College Game Day this morning as well. You can see that on ESPN.com. Right now, a 3rd and 2 for UConn after forcing the punt. They run. They've got a first down heading toward midfield as they try and cut into this 28-17 UCF lead. Arkel Newsome, the senior, gains 12. on a big play.
Central Florida defensively trying to crowd the line of scrimmage, and you can bust big plays on the ground from Newsome, from Mensah, when they start getting 8, 9 people within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Pindell sets his feet and finds Tyreek Beals, the junior from East Orange, New Jersey, out toward midfield.
I'm impressed with David Pindell and the way the flow of the offense hasn't really missed a beat. You have a guy with a lot of experience that's not playing. He's in concussion protocol, Bryant Sheriffs. You step right in. You get some experience last week, but you step right in and you make plays not only dealing from the pocket, but with his legs. And I've been blown away on how crisp the reads have been from David Pindell.
Quick throw and a difficult hit to withstand. Scanes hit from the backside at the 45-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and 2. To your point, John, it's something that both sides expected. Eric Shenander, the second-year defensive coordinator, predicted that with UConn trying to get a new offensive scheme implemented, they didn't want to divert too much from what they usually do. And Rhett Lashley said during the week for them to be successful, they just had to turn Pindell loose and let him play.
And right here on 3rd and very short, I would expect quarterback run.
Now it is a run and very close to the sticks for Newsome.
Big decision. And it looks like it's going to be 4th down, and that offense is going to stay on the field.
Get under center and sneak it through?
I would think so. And first, I might even try a snap count. I mean, it's so close you don't want to throw off your offensive lineman, but you may be able to get a cheap one using voice inflection.
Well, here they go on 4th down and short. Did Newsome get it? Going up against a trio of 300-pounders along the defensive line of UCF. They did not.
And that's the defensive stand UCF needed, and not the look by that offensive line that UConn needed. They needed a little bit of a push and a north-south run, but that's just terrific rallying to the football. Luyanda, Jasinski, those guys in the middle again of that defense, and frustration for Rhett Lashley in that offense.
Previous play of the runner short of the line to gain is under review.
So they're going to check that.
Initially, it looked like the spot might have been shy of where the ball carrier was able to get to. Newsome busts off the left side. It looks like he was able to gain a yard, a half a yard.
Did the ball reach the 43-yard line? So they're going to decide that. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
On a 4th down and 1, does it make you scratch your head a little bit
Shotgun?
to go gun?
These teams, that's what you do when you have the spread teams. That they're more comfortable doing that. For me, I'd rather get under center because you've got a strong quarterback.
Confirmed. It is UCF's ball, 1st down.
So it's confirmed, but I just think you go under center. That way you have the ability to make the possibility of the defense jumping off sides with voice inflection. You have the ability of quarterback sneak. You have a lot of other things to get to than waiting for the ball to travel 5 yards back to your quarterback.
I think you and I are on the same page there. Cut down the distance between the ball and the 1st down marker. Favorable starting field position for Milton and the offense. Taj McGowan, the junior from Hollywood, Florida, who averages almost 9 yards a carry, takes it on 1st down. And then junior Joseph, the middle linebacker for the Huskies, is down after the play. Critical player, their leading tackler, and the centerpiece of their defense.
It's number 1 versus number 2, and number 4 versus number 5. One night, 2 blockbuster matchups.
So Kentucky got a little bit of a scare last night before they turned things around in the second half. The college basketball season getting started last night. Duke looking very impressive against Elon as well. Get to know the name Marvin Bagley III. He's only going to be in college basketball for 1 year on the Duke roster. He is
that good?
Very tall and very skilled. Mike Cousins and John Congemi with you here from Spectrum Stadium in Orlando. A little bit of a breezy day.
Mike, I'm expecting one of those explosive plays from UCF in this offense here very shortly.
Up against a three-man front, Voli Fatukasi with a right-hand tackle of Taj McGowan. That was bicep meets chin.
That was.
Boom to the ground.
That was just strength up the middle, sticking that right arm out and bringing the ball carrier down.
Milton unsure where he wants to go on third down and short, so he just flings himself across the 45-yard line to get a first down.
That's just knowing where the markers are and the yard you need to get. Good awareness by Mackenzie Milton. He wanted to make a big play in the running game. Goes to his right and he goes, you know what? I've only got a yard and a half. I better propel my body across the 45-yard line.
The one-time Hawaii commit, now in year number 2, leading the highest scoring offense in the nation. No good options on first down. Originally committed to Hawaii, but caught Scott Frost's eye when he went to quarterback camp at Oregon. 64 quarterbacks there, and he won that quarterback camp. Got on the radar for Scott Frost, who convinced him to come all the way across the United States.
And the thing I like about him is he extends plays and he doesn't make mistakes. Very aware inside and outside the pocket.
He throws toward the blitz. A little bit of offensive discombobulation. Another incompletion for a guy who on the year completes 70% of his throws, second best mark in the country.
And let's credit UConn defensively. They've done a nice job starting to get more pressure in the pocket. They've done a nice job of covering downfield. And I think there's a little frustration that's set in to Central Florida in their offense.
For a team concerned about its standing in the college football playoff rankings, this has not been a third quarter to rack up any style points. Designed quarterback run on third down. Huskies all over it. Vontae Diggs, the senior from Downers Grove, Illinois, stops Milton's run.
And just like UConn ran a play on third down to get a couple of yards to go for it on fourth down, I think that was the call by offensive coordinator Troy Walters and head coach Scott Frost. Let's get 5 and let's go for it and keep our offense on the field.
Just 6 yards to get the first down here if they can do it. And they've been very successful on fourth downs in 2017. Still just an 11-point game. Big time pressure. It's Milton on the run. His throw. And it's incomplete. Smith out of bounds. So a turnover on downs. This third quarter, despite not going anybody's way in particular, I think the scales tip a little bit toward UConn.
Advantage Connecticut, absolutely. More pressure in the pocket, better coverage down the field, and they're forcing UCF to make plays that they're not accustomed to. That's good pressure in the pocket. Milton tries to make a play outside to Smith, so they turn it over in downs, and now Connecticut offensively needs to capitalize. They need to take advantage of the field position and the momentum they've built up.
Drawn up a screen on the outside. Keon Dixon, first down, Connecticut.
If I'm UConn offensively and offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley, I start changing the tempo. Let's go a little bit more tempo. Let's get in the face of UCF and their defense.
Just a one safety look. And it's Tyler Davis, the tight end, twisting through the tackles, tucking the ball into his chest. 1 yard shy of a first down.
Connecticut doesn't have the athletes that UCF does, but they're modeling their offense. A screen outside, move the pocket, play action to the other side of the field, going east and west and putting pressure on the Knights defensively.
Mensah takes it and runs right into the waiting arms of Pat Jasinski, the linebacker and team's leading tackler. He's got great lateral movement, according to his coordinator, Eric Shenander.
He's one of those guys you you want to avoid in the middle of the field.
He's beefed up, plus 30 pounds since he walked onto campus 3 years ago.
It's a 1-2 punch with Jasinski and Burkett in the middle of that defense for the Knights. Can UConn move the line of scrimmage?
3rd and 1. They wildcat it with Williams. And we've got a flag against the Huskies.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That potentially could be the 3rd penalty when UConn was in position to make a play. Down on 1st and goal, you had a special teams penalty early in the game that was 3rd and short, and now you move a 3rd and 1 into a 3rd and 6.
Pressure comes immediately. Pindell can't run it. Will he find somewhere to throw it? Reversing field. Now he picks up a blocker, and he's drilled down at the 46-yard line.
The athleticism of David Pindell was on display, but as he's moving, he has to keep his eyes downfield. You're allowed to elude and do all the things creatively and athletically behind the line of scrimmage, but you have to start picking up where I can get rid of the football now. He had a wide open Arkell Newsome along the UConn sidelines, and he failed to find him on 3rd and 6.
Not quite the same defensive pressure he faced against Holy Cross in week 1. Punt from Graham, bounces inside the 20-yard line. Big game, you've been hearing about it all week, and it finally comes your way tonight on ABC. Number 3 Notre Dame, number 7 Miami. A perfect record on the line at Hard Rock Stadium. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You can also catch it on the ESPN app.
How about Josh Adams for the Fighting Irish? 8.7 yards per carry. This is a great rushing team. Number 5 in the country, averaging 325 yards per game are the Irish.
Adams comes in 3rd best odds to win the Heisman Trophy behind Baker Mayfield and Saquon Barkley to start the week.
2nd down.
Inside of a minute here, 3rd quarter. So weather in Miami tonight, 78, partly cloudy. They'll hope for no rain there, right?
That's right. That field has not been good. It's not been kind to the Hurricanes or the Dolphins. It's been replaced 3 or 4 times, and you hope that doesn't play a factor in the game tonight.
Fields get torn up, but 3 or 4 is a lot of turnover for a field in one season.
Well, it is, and you turn it over that fast, it doesn't have time to take. And I think they went back to the old Bermuda grass that grows well in South Florida.
Milton looks, tucks. Now he wants to throw. A tiptoeing sideline grab. Davis.
Good throw by Mackenzie Milton. First, he's able to step up through the pocket, buy some time. And this is an example of keeping your eyes downfield. Milton can still run the football. There's plenty of room. But he's able to keep his eyes downfield, locate a receiver, and throw it accurate football down the field.
On the year, average point total for UCF, 49 points a game. UConn through 3 quarters, holding it close. 15 to go for number 18 UCF and UConn. If you wanted to characterize the 3rd quarter as low energy for the Knights, you could certainly say that. Just 73 yards of total offense, 3 first downs, and no points as UConn trimmed away at a 28-10 halftime deficit. UCF with possession here. 1st and 10 from their own 29. That ball tipped on the throw by Milton.
Tyler Coyle coming in and making a big play on 1st down. And you're right, UConn's defense has found an answer to what head coach Scott Frost and that offense wants to become in this second half.
Second and 10, a runoff to the right side. And Otis Anderson, who's been pretty prominently featured today, did fumble earlier in the game as well that UConn picked up but wasn't able to convert on. And it's now 3rd down and 4 for the Knights.
Man coverage across the board. This is a territory UConn hasn't shown a lot of. You're going to try to pressure the pocket.
Right through the middle, Eddie Hahn, the linebacker, with a missed tackle. And this is an opportunity for a big game-breaking play. Down the sideline, inside the 10, and into the end zone. Touchdown to UCF from 65 yards out. Otis Anderson does it for the second time today.
Mike, when you're in man coverage, you can get beat with a big play down the field. And if you break the first 7 or 8 defenders, you can get into that secondary with a lot of running room. And that's exactly what Anderson found.
After the play, an injured UConn Husky down in the end zone. That's exactly the quick strike ability that makes the UCF offense so dangerous. Trey Bell, the cornerback, the injured UConn defender.
So many weapons at multiple positions for head coach Scott Frost.
The Knights doubling up the Huskies, and the extra point makes it +1. So not a minute gone in the 4th quarter, and Otis Anderson gets his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon.
And after being stagnant for most of the 3rd quarter, Otis Anderson is able to break free on the outside, find running room, and find more points to extend the UCF lead.
(35-17) UCF over UConn. 4th quarter getting started with an explosive run from Otis Anderson, with the Knights in pursuit of 9-0, the number 18 team in the country, with their eye on a New Year's 6 bowl game. Still 2 more weeks of regular season action and the 4th quarter to be completed here in Orlando. Gains to the 20, and we go for the first time today to Chris Cotter in the studio.
All right, gentlemen, let's check in on Iowa State and Oklahoma State in Ames. Cyclones down to their 4th quarterback in this game because of injuries, but David Montgomery, the back, takes it in for his 2nd touchdown of the day, close against Oklahoma State on either ABC or ESPN2. Meanwhile, Jalen Holston scores for Virginia Tech. They still trail Georgia Tech, though, 21-16 early 4th.
All right, thanks, Chris. UConn gets the ball back here, down 35-17. The backup quarterback, David Pindell, getting the start today with Bryant Sheriffs out because of a concussion suffered last week against USF. Hergy Mayala makes the catch, the native of Montreal.
Thought David Pindell's done a nice job distributing the football today, Mike. He's 13 of 23, 154, touchdown and interception, but on the ground, 67 yards and a touchdown. That's where he's made up the difference and really ignited the offense and led them to 17 points.
He's done a very capable job today. It's Beals who takes the pitch, looking for first down yardage, perhaps backing his way toward the sticks, and the spot gives him a first down.
Good effort by Beals, because the last place UConn offensively wanted to be is 3rd and 1. They haven't had a whole lot of success of moving the line of scrimmage, so good effort on 2nd down by Beals.
And for Pindell, It's not that you want to have to put your backup quarterback in on short notice, but he's gotten time over the last couple of weeks in the games against Missouri and USF. Intended for McLean as the pass falls incomplete. As we mentioned earlier, too, with Brian Charis being a redshirt senior, this is a team that has to think about what its quarterback situation looks like for next year.
And what a great opportunity and an audition to go on the road against the 18th ranked team in the country and really play a solid game through 3 quarters. He's done a nice job in the pocket and with his legs.
They designed this run for him. He reads the blocking well and takes it to the 37, maybe the 38-yard line.
Tough runner in between the tackles and on the perimeter. You know, Randy Edsall has told us on numerous occasions this team needs to get bigger, they need to get faster, and they need to get stronger. It just doesn't happen without working for it and getting recruits in that you can build with, and that's going to happen over the next couple of seasons. But this group, I like the way they're fighting on the road against a quality opponent.
They've also got to get older, too. 21 first-time starters this year. It's the 4th most in the country.
They're going to have to call a timeout.
Play clock was down to 1.
Connecticut takes the first charge timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout. Correction. This is a full media timeout.
So an opportunity to evaluate with a 3rd and 4 coming up. Well, it's only the 5th time that these two teams have played, but tell you what, the first few times that they did play, maybe it was the biggest matchup, the biggest rivalry in college football history. And Bob Diaco was the head coach, now defensive coordinator at Nebraska, deemed it the civil conflict. The trophy has been missing this week.
There it is.
Last spotted at Rensselaer Field in East Hartford after the UCF victory. They got on the bus. Nobody knew where the trophy was, and still nobody knows where the trophy is. It has now become the biggest thing to be lampooned in college football this week. This is from the UCF game notes that they give out to the media. Not a thing, according to UCF.
Nobody cared where the trophy was, right? And that's something that I love the notes when I saw that. A win would be better than a loss, but going back to the civil conflict, that was a great line. And both of these coaches realize that. We saw the onesie earlier. I mean, these guys are cut from really the same cloth. They want to get winners. They want to improve. And Scott Frost getting his team 18th ranked, they're well on their way to moving up.
UConn called timeout. 3rd and 4 for the Huskies. Down 35-17. Ball back at their own 37. Pindell hit as he throws. The pass incomplete. Leaping try by Beals in vain, with pressure from Shaquem Griffin making life difficult for Pindell.
Coming from the blind side, Griffin was able to have his sights right on David Pindell and alter the throw down the field. Just one more guy than you can protect, and you have to have a little bit more urgency, I guess, if you're Pindell, to realize you've got to get rid of the football in a hurry against the blitz. Have to have that awareness on 3rd down that pressure is coming.
Graham's punt, fair catch, 28-yard line. Later today on ESPN, a pair of big games with implications for the college football postseason. Florida State, number 4, Clemson at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. And then 2nd-ranked Alabama against number 16 Mississippi State. That one's in Starkville, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, with both games available and streaming live on the ESPN app. An opportunity knocks for Alabama here. So they've got a chance with a win and an Auburn loss against Georgia to clinch the SEC West. Flag on the play at the 26-yard line.
Did Carazola get a little bit of face mask as he was corralling the ball carrier Williams?
Defense number 15. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Exactly who it was.
Good awareness by Carazola, and he doesn't making the argument that he never had his hand on the face mask. Let's take a quick closer look. Williams, yeah, he got the right hand definitely on the face mask to start the tackle.
That's about as convincing an argument as a dog who chewed up a pillow.
I didn't do it.
And is sitting around there. It couldn't have been me. I don't know where this came from.
I love that when defenders pass interference. It wasn't me. You're the only one covering.
I don't have these big eyes and ears tucked behind my head for nothing. Inside 12 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. And all sorts of time for Milton, who takes the check down at the sideline and makes the connection with his tight end, Jordan Franks. 8th catch of the year for the senior.
Been impressed with both quarterbacks today. I thought they've delivered the football when they've had time, on target and on time. And you can tell that Milton just has a little bit more in his arsenal, a little bit more to work with around him. And I think that Pindell will grow as he continues to play.
Milton with a pump fake, steps into a deep ball. And with a flag down, Traquan Smith hangs on to it. Going up against Trey Bell and winning the one-on-one battle.
That's just good one-on-one matchup. 40 yards down the field, the completion to Traquan Smith. It's going to be pass interference on Trey Bell, but watch him track the football through the contact and then secure it to the ground. Excellent reception by Smith.
Coming off of a 7-catch, 141-yard performance last Saturday night against SMU. Quick to the line of scrimmage, but not necessarily quick to snap for the Knights. So they've got a sizable advantage and time on their side. Both teams proficient in the red zone today. Otis Anderson getting a good bulk of carries today, splitting time with Killens and McGowan. Already 2 touchdowns for him today, wrapped up by Tyler Coyle.
Well, the Knights have been efficient in the red zone. They've been able to finish their drives, take advantage of those explosive plays, some provided by Otis Anderson this afternoon. This might be one of those short corners to the wide side of the field. Jordan Franks in the slot. He may end up in the deep part of the end zone on a corner route.
Milton decides to take off, gets the 5, right near the first down marker. So he's got it. 1st and goal coming up from the 4 for UCF.
Nice job of Mackenzie Milton. Give him the illusion of the pass. It's a quarterback draw the entire way. Good blocking up front. Chavis Dickey, the right guard, providing plenty of running room off the right side.
John, this pace right now is just about as molasses as it's been all day for UCF.
Time and the score are on their side.
Troy Walters, the offensive coordinator, deciding to slow things down. A tuck and a tip at the back of the end zone, incomplete. Well defended as they look to go over the top for Franks, and the safety Marche Terry knocked it away.
And I think Marche Terry got away with a left-hand grab around the hip of Jordan Franks that puts him in position to make a play on the football. Watch 41. Left hand pulls the tight end to him, and that puts him in position to make a play with his right arm. Smart play, no call. Should have been pass interference.
Deception works. Milton through the middle with the misdirection off to the outside. He gets his way through. 4th rushing touchdown of the year for the sophomore.
You need great eye discipline when you play UCF and their offense, because there's so many ball fakes that you can just see Luke Carazola go outside and Mackenzie Milton with the football go inside for an easy 6 points.
You know, it was interesting to see Milton walk off the field. He takes the umpire around the shoulder to go, Hey, on that last play.
Did you see that? Did you see what I saw? That's right. 7 plays, 72 yards, 3:08 off the clock, and UCF rolling right now.
A team that knows how to spread the ball out. Highest scoring offense in the country. Just a touchdown shy of their average with lots of time to play at home.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays, and in part by Axe. Find your magic.
The number 18 undefeated team in the country against a 3-6 UConn team, playing out as expected here as we are inside 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. 42-17, and off a touchdown run by Mackenzie Milton, UConn will have the ball 1st and 10 at its own 15-yard line. Along with John Congemi, Mike Cousins here, glad to have you with us, and we go check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, Mike, I think John Congemi would appreciate this effort by a receiver, helping his quarterback out. It's Joel Lanning, who also doubles as a linebacker for Iowa State, hitting Alan Lazard, who tips it to himself, catches it. Cyclones back on top by 4 over on ABC or ESPN2. Check your local listings.
Chris, I love it. Love that wide receiver. Not
push
off
off
on offense. No, never a push off on offense.
Pindell with a spinning zip line for first down yardage to Myella. So undetermined as of yet whether Pindell will continue to lead the offense into next week, whether Brian Sheriffs gets cleared out of the concussion protocol, but certainly has to give confidence to the UConn staff from what he's been able to do today, both through the air and on the ground. 2nd down and 10 coming up.
I think so. I think he's done a very good job of coming into a situation that you're going up against a team that scores a lot of points. You have to be able to protect the football, yet push the envelope down the field and try to get points to stay in this game for the first half, for the first 2 quarters. And he did that. And he made some pretty good decisions, and he surprised me on how athletic he was running the football. And that's what offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley thought. He'd give him a little bit more in the running game, and that's what we saw today.
A tumbling carry for Mensa. Pindell, interestingly enough, coincidentally, he was recruited by Maryland at a high school, which is where he grew up. He's from Columbia, Maryland. The offensive line coach, Tom Bratton, at the time there with Maryland when Randy Edsall was the head coach. They didn't cross paths, though, until he ended up at Lackawanna in junior college. Had an offer from Buffalo coming out of high school, but his SAT and his GPA didn't meet the NCAA clearinghouse requirements, and thus his 2-year detour now in his junior year. And he's stopped short of a first down with that run on 3rd and 2.
And that's just trying to make a play where nothing was there. Your receivers run into each other. They were trying to run a rub play to the short side of the field for Rhett Lashley. That was the call on 3rd down. They run into each other. And as a quarterback, you don't want to make a bad play worse, so you run towards the first down. You run yourself into a 4th and very short.
So 4-down territory. They designed the run for Pindell, and it looks like he comes up short.
Yeah, depending on that spot, it looks like it's going to be a football either way, and looks like it's going to be short.
So here come the chains. Didn't get it. The 3rd time today, the Huskies with a turnover on downs.
Disappointment on the Huskies sideline, and you had Cam DeGeorge and Tyler Davis out in front, 2 guys that don't hit anybody, and that allowed the Knights defense to rally around quarterback David Pindell and keep him short of the yard to gain.
So a change at quarterback here. Noah Vedral is in, and he's going way downfield. His first pass of the day to Cam Stewart is a touchdown. 35-yarder, and it doesn't get any easier than that.
Mike, I think Noah was shocked that he had such a wide open receiver. He held this football just a little bit longer. Is he really that open? There's got to be a safety back there. There wasn't, and you walk into the end zone if you're Cam Stewart for a 35-yard touchdown.
Stewart's pretty happy. Only the 5th ball he's caught this year and his first touchdown. For Vedral, only the 23rd pass he's thrown on the year. His first touchdown through the air. And UCF is right on schedule. 49-17. Vedral, the freshman from Nebraska, in for the first time today. And Noah's arc on this throw, perfect. He delivers it for 6. UCF is on the way to 9-0.
Big game buzz in South Florida. An old rivalry reawakens.
There's so much to play for. Feels like an elimination game.
Just the 4th time since 1990 that Miami and Notre Dame square off. The last Miami win 28 years ago in that series, but happened to be on the way to a national championship.
Should be a great game tonight. I'm just interested to see if Notre Dame can run the football against Miami's speed and toughness on defense.
Short kick and out of bounds. So that draws the flag. Well, don't forget, after all the college football tonight and NFL Sunday, we've got a good one for you on Monday Night Football. Just call them the primetime Dolphins these days. It's Miami and Carolina, 8:15 Eastern. Dolphins are 4-4. Panthers are 6-3.
They sure need, the Miami Dolphins sure need a victory on primetime and on Monday night. Cam Newton, 10 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions. But he's starting to run the football a little bit more. And Jay Cutler going to play through that rib injury, and he's been protecting the football pretty well. But they desperately, the Dolphins do need a win on the road.
Pindell gets undercut at the 40-yard line, gets 5. Has Cutler been the addition that you expected when they signed him prior to the start of the season?
I think so. I think he's done a good job of being a stopgap for Ryan Tannehill in a year where you were desperately thinking you needed 2 quarterbacks that knew the system. I don't think the Dolphins planned on getting through with just Matt Moore. That's for sure.
Heavy run here. Pindell getting his number called quite a bit.
Tough to play quarterback when it's 49-17 late in the 4th quarter and you're still trying to grind out first downs and stay on the field and get some points to finish up the afternoon.
4 receivers on 3rd and 5. Quick slant. And there is a flag down as Beals picks up a first down.
They may call the pick play on the outside against UConn. That was the play last series. 2 receivers running into each other. This time,
pass interference.
They run the rub.
Number 8. 15-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So Aaron McLean, the offending Huskies receiver. But like you said, you just got to find ways to be creative and keep the offense alive, even though you know that a victory at this point is more than likely out of reach.
Yeah, it's out the window. You want to stay healthy. You want to be efficient. You want to make good, smart reads. But when you have 3rd and 20, maybe it's just time to hand the football off and get your punting unit out there.
They've got to get out to the 45-yard line to get a first down. Newsome the back. And 3rd and
UConn
20.
takes their second charge time out of the half.
And a timeout.
This is a 30-second timeout.
So 5:34 to go. We remind you that Allstate, our partner, is proud to be part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. So fourth quarter has certainly gone UCF's way, but through 3 quarters,
we had a little bit of a football game, Michael.
A pretty impressive fight put up by the Huskies. Down their starting quarterback and trying to find just win number 4 on the year. They today had to face one of the hottest teams in college football. Second straight play, Beals with the catch. This time nowhere near a first down marker. That's 4th down.
Tough start to the fourth quarter for UConn as a team. I think UCF finally put some plays together and, as you said, put this game out of reach now with just around 5 minutes left to go in the game.
Chris Johnson stands back inside his own 40-yard line, ready to take the punt from Graham. Johnson from the 30, and he's drilled down immediately there with good coverage from Tyler Coyle. So UCF now with just 2 games left on its schedule. They've got a game at Temple. Will be there in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field next week. And then the big one against USF November 24th here at home. FPI on ESPN.com gives them a 51% chance to win out and a 62% chance to win the conference.
Well, I like the percentages in the favor of the Knights right now, but that should be a heck of a football game when Charlie Strong brings his team to Orlando to face Scott Frost and the Knights.
Three-man front as Vedral stays in the game at quarterback and hands it off on first down to Greg McCrae, the freshman. So the questions now that surround UCF are bigger than just week by week, a win or a loss, as they're going to go to 9-0 here today, but about A, their head coach, and B, their position within the college football playoff rankings.
Well, they've done all they needed to do today. They found a way when the game wasn't really going in their direction and felt like it was stalling out. They found a way to make enough plays offensively, explosive plays to get in the end zone, then defensively finding ways to get off the field, and they're going to need to continue to do that to impress people that have control of what their destiny is in terms of rankings around the country.
Kirby Hocutt, the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee, said that the biggest challenge right now in putting UCF higher is their strength of schedule, which some of it you control. You're a non-conference play. Other parts, your conference schedule, and, as was the case this year, the weather.
That's right.
You have no control over.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 89. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So a lot of the talk this week has been comparing certain teams, one in particular, ahead of UCF in the college football playoff rankings. You got a 9-0 team, an 8-0 team. The gap here doesn't look too large, right?
No, everything looks good. Strength of schedule pretty comparatively, and then when you put the logos up, you go, wow. You know, I'm not so sure that UCF should be down at 18 and Wisconsin all the way up at 8. But it's perception, and where you start has a lot to do with it in the beginning of the season in terms of UCF, a team off the radar.
Isn't that somewhat of an inherent flaw in the system, which is supposed to be taken away by having the human factor, the selection element in there? But the preseason rankings are based on games that were played months ago.
Exactly. And I think that's why when we talked with head coach Scott Frost, he was talking about there needs to be some kind of regulation about scheduling, because some conferences have 9 games you have to play in conference. Some have 8. Some have no really determination on the caliber of team out of conference that you schedule. So there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Fair catch back at the 20-yard line after UConn forces the punt. Now with 3:12 to go. Later on tonight, make sure you're tuned in to ESPN, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific for SportsCenter, following championship boxing from Fresno on ESPN. Kirk Herbstreit will break down Showdown Saturday and the impact of the Notre Dame-Miami game tonight on ABC. Plus, they'll size up the Heisman race. Is Baker Mayfield still the favorite after this week? And a recap of Sixers-Warriors with the future of the league on display. Ben Simmons against the current star, one of them, Steph Curry. So as it relates to UCF, though, I think, looking at the big picture of the college football playoff, does a team like UCF, from a group of 5 conference, have a realistic shot at being one of the top 4 teams at the end of the season? And I think most people would tell you no.
I would say no. I would say that they're on the outside looking in terms of having the resume that everybody says that, should be this, it should be that. It's never really good enough in terms of caliber of play and what your common opponents are and where they rank in the overall scheme of things.
You could tell Scott Frost is not pleased with the way.
That's right.
A little bit icy in his opinion about the way the current system is set up. First down run, Williams with a stiff arm out toward midfield. The former quarterback turned wide receiver getting back to his old spot and sending UConn into UCF territory.
Nice run at the end of this game for Connecticut. And as you said, Donovan Williams bouncing to the outside, had a stiff arm, then pays for it around the 50-yard line.
Mensah wrangled down from behind, gains 2. So Scott Frost advocates maybe an 8-team playoff where you have a built-in opportunity for a team from the group of 5 conferences to be able to have an equal shot at playing in the national championship game.
And to his point, because I'm a little bit older than Scott, so I've seen it go from the argument, who's number 3? Because it used to be just 1 and 2. And then it got to 4, but now the argument is, well, who's 4, 5, and 6? And if you get to 8, I think the argument lessens about who's 9, 10, and 11, because at that time, you're a little bit more watered down in terms of the quality of talent of that team that finishes 9, 10, or 11.
And the teams start to separate themselves at that point rather than having to rely on a human element.
I kind of agree with Scott. I think ultimately it's going to get to 8. I don't think you can pack it into 16 in football. There's just too many teams and too many games to be played. I think, right now they're trying to get it right at 4, but I think ultimately it will build to 8.
Pindell scanning, and with room underneath, he takes off and forward to the 30-yard line. And I think part of what gets at me about the college football playoff system is that, let's look at the NCAA basketball tournament, for example. Any team, any conference, as long as you're in that field, you have an equal shot with anybody else at advancing all the way through to the national championship game. And like we said before, if you're a team from a non-Power 5 conference, realistically speaking, you don't have an equal shot to make it into the Final Four.
No, and that's just the way it is right now, it seems like. And you're hoping that
there's an injured player.
That changes. You're hoping that aspect changes sometime as we see
UCF
Cochran
down
on the field and Coach Frost going out to check on his injured linebacker.
Our college football playoff rankings are brought to you by Goodyear. So Georgia and Auburn, as we mentioned before, this has a chance to be a disrupting game in the college football playoff rankings as Auburn can climb up. And Washington last night, losing 30-22 at Stanford, guarantees a 2-loss champion for the Pac-12 and effectively eliminates that conference from the national championship.
Well, I think you have to put slash marks. Notre Dame / Miami. OU, TCU, the winner of that is going to be able to do something.
Here's Rory Coleman, who we introduced you to earlier in the game, former U.S. Army combat medic who was injured overseas by an enemy grenade, a recipient of a Purple Heart, now an active reserve serving on weekends in Jacksonville, and a guy who has seen very limited snaps here. But on this weekend where we honor veterans, he is on the field here for the remainder of this game for UCF. It's a guy who was compelled to serve. His grandfather, William Coleman, a World War II paratrooper and a prisoner of war. He felt compelled to go into military service. Ball up top and into the end zone for UConn. And a touchdown for the Huskies. Officials just had to see on the 22-yard pass whether the ball was hung onto, and indeed it was, by Aaron McLean, who has his second touchdown of the year.
Well, Mike, you asked me earlier if David Pindell was auditioning potentially for his job in next year and going into the spring and playing in the last couple of games. He's done nothing but impress outside of the pocket, and that ball as tight as you can throw in that window in the end zone to Aaron McLean for 6 points. That was well executed by both.
Extra point is good. 36 seconds left on the clock here with UCF getting set to go to 9-0, 6-0 in the American with 2 games left on the schedule. And coming up after us, it'll be the University of Virginia heading to the Bluegrass State to take on the Louisville squad and Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson having a sensational season, backing up his Heisman, potentially in line for another one.
So you can have the best season in the world, but if your team's not winning the games, you're dropping out of the Heisman race.
Most of the time you're on the outside looking in, but when you take a look at the total offense and the yards per game and what he's done from that position, it's hard to argue with that production.
Rory Coleman, respected by every single one of his teammates, everybody in this stadium. Mom and dad graduated from UCF. He's on track to do that as well. So one more possession here for UCF. Out across the 30-yard line on the return. The other lingering question week by week as college football head coaches fall away from their perches at high positions. Florida has been one that has been talked about. Nebraska still has its head coach, but there are premonitions that something might change, is whether Scott Frost considers those other opportunities enticing enough to jump away from UCF.
Well, those are the 2 big schools that are always going to be rumored when you hear Scott's name mentioned. And boy, he sure looked happy yesterday. And I think he likes the players and the staff that he's put together here. So those rumors and those names of schools will continue to linger. But as long as Scott Frost continues to win, I think that the people here in the Orlando area, especially the administration, are going to see that he's taken care of at the end of the year.
Now, it's become evident from talking to people around this program how much he likes being here, how much they like him. There's a guy who's given him some advice as well about thinking about